My enemies pretend to be friends to me, that's a penalty. Loyal or rose, just remember that I kept it G. Okay, now let me be. Yeah. My enemies pretend to be friends to me, that's a penalty. Loyal or rose, just remember that I kept it G. Okay, now let me be. Yo.
But you know what? They making the movies because they don't have the same insight and perspective that we have. I think they're making a movie to tell one side of the story. And I think us being on, by us experiencing this shit, we are interpreting it on a whole nother level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because it ain't like you putting that story out there just for them.
Right.
You putting it out there for everybody.
Right.
And one thing about melanated people, regardless, we're going to always question everything we see, everything we hear.
Well, no, we used to.
Yeah.
Not so much. They created social media, so we don't question.
So we don't question nothing. No, I do.
But you know why? Because you existed. Yeah. No, because you existed before all of this. Like if you were here before these motherfucking cell phones, the internet, your experience of life is so much different because a lot of these kids and a lot of people have grown up with all of this technology, and that's all they know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't question nothing. If they see it, they believe it. But we done seen some shit, been through some shit, and experienced some shit, and we know enough shit to be like,
that shit don't even look right.
That shit don't look right. The math ain't mathing. Like we were, even our schooling was different to teach us that.
Because no matter what, we had black teachers that was on deck, that was black mothers, that was in the middle of the situation, that was teaching us black history.
Is bad. So they can go to school and get a check and labelize.
But listen, but even look at how they look at the math that they teaching the kids. I go to try to help my kids with their motherfucking math homework, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yo, for real.
How the fuck am I a grown ass woman and I can't help my fucking 6-year-old with a fucking math question? Because they rewriting and reprogramming and reformulating minds. So you can't think, you thinking out the box is illegal. You know what I'm saying? Just like with that looting. A lot of people couldn't even conceptualize that there would be a situation in which you may have to break the law so you can fucking survive.
Right.
Because me, I'm like, yo.
And they got you so whitewashed that you sitting here willing to talk about it and defend the people that were actually looted as opposed to defending the people that did the looting.
Right.
Because we was put in a position where we were forced
to survive.
But how was
that happen? And see, they dumbing the kids down. Remember, we used to have projects. We used to have shit that made you have to think and you had to communicate that shit on paper.
Right.
They don't have no projects. Now they grade you simply on how well you can regurgitate the shit that they just taught you.
Right.
So that doesn't teach you to think.
Right.
It teaches you to follow whatever the fuck they say.
Right.
Oh, they say this, that's what it is.
Right.
If they say that, that's what it is.
It's just like schools is teaching you how to be institutionalized. Because they telling you, stand in a straight line. The first person, the last person, stand in a straight line. Listen, that's getting you ready for a jail mentality, institutionalized mentality.
It is, but anytime
you think that's going to be the norm?
Whether it's a male and a female, like it's some things in life that are just some basic shit. Like either you're a girl or you're a motherfucking boy. Anytime you create,
like Mr. Rogers said, the boys are the boys. When the boys grow up, they're gonna be the daddies. When the girls grow up,
and
they're gonna be the mommies.
And then my whole question is, okay, I'm gonna go with whatever the fuck y'all saying, and I'm gonna go with that. But if you are a woman that likes women, why are you getting a woman that looks like a man? And if you're a man that likes men, why do you need a man that acts like a female? And who is telling men that females act like this? Like it's all in their programming is creating the reality for these motherfuckers that don't know reality without the programming. See, the programming was very limited when we grew up. Because at 11 o'clock, the motherfucking TV went off.
Right. You was in the house and in the bed.
In the bed, because you could be up. But it wasn't nothing to watch on TV.
Right. Yeah.
But now it's 24/7 programming.
Right.
Where they program it. I was like, y'all.
Because when we was coming coming up. Anything that had anything to do with anything sexual.
That shit wasn't on
TV.
They be like, even killing wasn't on TV.
No,
they might lead up to the killing, and then they come back in and somebody's dead.
Right.
But you don't see the bullets and the blood and all that shit.
Right.
It was a reason for that.
Right.
Just like it's a reason for now you see everything. Just like before, I was like, all that rap music, it was some rap music that eventually got played on the radio, but it was a great deal of rap music that never made it to radio.
Right.
Now I'm like, the rap music that never made it to radio ain't got nothing on the rap music that they play.
Right.
I'm like, they said, I'm driving in my car like,
what? You can say this?
It's 12 o'clock, dude. It's the 12 o'clock traffic jam. I said,
what? I never.
I was like, oh my God.
Right. And this is the music that they glorify, because now you're teaching kids that, oh, I didn't go to high school. Oh, I didn't go to elementary school. Yeah, you can't read. You can't write. You made $1 million because you wrote a rap song by not really, you punching in. And you talking about killing your culture.
Wait, I'm glad you said that, because listen, I need y'all to, this is what got me on this shit. I was sitting at home and somebody sent me, and this thing, it's on Facebook. These motherfuckers was like, yo, we got 35,000 teachers. We got fucking 35,000 engineers. We make up 25,000 doctors. These motherfuckers is talking about how much of Bangladeshi people is in place in America. They said they are now ready to leave America.
It's like a terrorist cell.
Listen.
Listen.
They already said it. I'm about to read it to you. I only got 2%. This is what these motherfuckers said.
Where the charger at?
I'm about to put it back on the charger.
Bring it right here.
Listen, I said,
I think I might got it.
Oh, we in trouble. That's why, and they teach us to just make our kids why our kids becoming rappers and basketball players. These motherfuckers been becoming engineers, chemistry, doctors, lawyers. They became all of that. Why we just dominating the fucking videos and shit.
So I was on Uber and picking up from the college, and I was asking everybody every time they got in the car, like, what they was going to school for. And you right, engineer. Yo, I swear to God, doctors. I was like,
so it says,
really? Like, yes.
So it says the guy, Hassan Ali, he calls on all Muslims, youth, to come forward under the leadership of America. And this is something that they talking about on their own channel. So that means they talking about it in their languages. So when you walking in these stores and you're hearing these broadcasts or these radios playing in the background and it's in their language, you don't really know what they're talking about. Y'all are our teachers. Y'all are our doctors. Y'all even done made it downtown in the city hall. Y'all at every fucking store that serves food, that serves textiles, that serves education in all manners and all facets. And we have to listen to this shit. But we've been brainwashed with y'all are terrorists. Y'all are terrorists. No, now y'all are friends. Y'all are friends. But in all actuality, y'all always been the enemy. Y'all always been the enemy. Y'all gonna always be the enemy because y'all are with promoting our demise. Y'all with promoting our demise. And if you calling Muslim people to come together to take over, and you're telling everybody in America, let them know that we got thousands. Listen, they got thousands of miles. They got thousands of miles. This is what they telling each other.
All I want to know where they hiding it at.
They not.
Okay. But since you're acting like you're oblivious to the information that's right in front of you because you believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. The fact that you see these motherfuckers in your community, they building all these stores, they building all these gas stations. Come on now, a gas station is the biggest bomb in our fucking neighborhood. If they want to blow that shit, they'll blow that shit, and they connect it in every sector of our neighborhoods. And then it's a long span. It's a long span. And then it's miles before you get to another.
Yep.
But I'm saying though, if they want, they can poison us. Little by little with the food, they don't gotta blow nothing up. Motherfuckers going in there talking about
They can do whatever. And this is what they telling you. They got 3,000 miles. They got 3,000 mosques. They got 35,000 doctors from 57 Muslim countries. They got 30,000 engineers, 25,000 teachers, over 1 lakh businessmen. Lakh, I gotta look at what that means, but I'm assuming it's millions.
It's a lot.
Because they ain't say nothing else. The Bangladeshi Americans have over 10 lakhs out of 12,000 engineers, to over 2,000 doctors, 1,000 pharmacists, 1 lakh of homeowners, and there are thousands and thousands of businessmen. They recognized America when America gained its independence in 1776. They say
when they took the land from the black people.
In 1492, they said Columbus discovered America, but he was at the assistance of 2 Spanish Muslim sailors that guided him here in America. In America. So they letting you know, in 1973, Arab, I ain't even gonna say his name, was named after a building in America was named after an Arab. I'm not gonna say his name. They call it an immortal making. An immortal making.
Immortal.
It said it invented the magnetic train. Muslims are moving America forward with talent, labor, and taxes in the economic development of America. Democratic Party leader Senator Chuck Schumer at the 2019 event with Bangladeshi Americans said Bangladeshi America will next lead America in business, education, science, politics.
So they gonna teach us how to drive?
They gonna teach themselves how to drive.
But in the meantime,
But we still got them the ones that we go. Where else you get? Where the drivers you get?
Stopping. Listen, twice they done stopped on the 33 in reverse because they went past the fucking exit. I've witnessed that. I've been there. Almost lost my life, and they got driving schools. I'm not even gonna say nothing.
They got
most of the accidents.
He did his 5-hour course at one of
They giving you medicines now. They got their own companies, pharmaceutical companies that they're getting medicines made.
And everything in that
they're
joint.
getting the medication made from their pharmaceutical companies out of state. They come in that's being approved by the FDA. It's being approved by the FDA as being treatment. But they won't let us treat holistically.
Ourselves.
They won't let us treat ourselves. We can't even open up a pharmacy. Fuck all that. What you talking about? We can't open up a store.
We can't have
We
nothing.
can't have shit.
Because everything we had, they fucking destroyed. Period. Legally.
I'm gonna lay my ass down. I had to work.
So now they talking about
next Monday.
They
All
talking
right,
about.
see you then.
I mean, people don't understand the dynamics in which all of these things is happening. And like I said before, it's about our black leaders that they've actually placed in front of us that we have to vote for. But we don't have to vote for them if we get up and do the shit ourselves.
But see, they don't tell us that we can do it ourselves. We are programmed to believe we cannot do it ourselves.
But we can. But we can.
And anybody who tells us we can do it ourselves, they kill them. Anybody who attempts to assist us in doing it ourselves, they kill them.
But the only way that we gonna be, shit, we gotta kill or be killed. That's how the Black Panther Party. That's what they did. They was willing to put their life on the line for the shit that they believed in. And when they got together as a unit and they did what they were supposed to do, they said that we was a threat to democracy. Whose democracy are we a threat to?
Theirs. We are the cotton.
But we are not a threat to democracy of our own. That's why we need our own community like we had before. We need our own community, our own stuff. We need to be able to govern over ourselves.
I just showed a video. They just did it. They just posted. Somebody shared a post with me. They were interviewing a woman who was a I want to say she was a slave, but then I'm like, how was she a slave with all this technology? But in the video, the woman says that she's happy to be a slave. Like her slave masters take very good care of her. She worked for them for free for all these years. She got sick. They took care of her. They took care of her kids. She said she a slave. Her kids is slaves. We're happy fucking slaves. Because I'm like,
What?
wow. And guess what? Her kids went, and these are the. Listen, everybody act like their ancestors was Nat Turner and Harriet Tubman. We have to address the fact that we have a lot of ancestors of motherfuckers who was happy being on the plantation and who wasn't happy that niggas got emancipated or their ownership was transferred to the government. Like, we don't even understand. Like, we didn't get freedom.
Right. Not if
We
your
just
ownership got transferred.
Your ownership wasn't canceled. It was just transferred.
Right.
So
it wasn't transferred from one family to another. It was transferred from a family to an entity, a corporation,
an entity
a
that they
country.
own.
And they own it. They own it. These like I said, the conversations can't be, because people want to say you racist and you don't like them and things that. But that's not really the.
But people who throw around that term racist, you can't. They're just unintelligent because they don't anybody who calls black people racist do not understand racism, and they are part of the problem.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Because racism is about power. If we don't have the power to enforce genocide, we don't have the power to say who can have a job.
We don't even have the power to pursue happiness.
We don't even have the power to fucking raise our children.
Right. To pursue happiness.
You try to homeschool in New York State, you got to jump through this hoop and that hoop.
And you might be arrested.
And that hoop. And you might get arrested.
Services going to be involved.
And child protection might take your kids, but they get to get their own school.
Right.
So you got to recognize who these people are. Because they are protected. So they are with the government.
Right.
The government brought these people here.
They don't even understand why. They came over there, they gave y'all freedom. Because they didn't get freedom until 1985, 1980 something.
But see, as a citizen of the world, we have to understand imperialism.
And look it up, because before the 80s, it wasn't no Arabians in this motherfucker. It wasn't no Bangladeshis.
It wasn't Bangladesh. It was Myanmar. They've gone through different names.
You seen it said 51 different countries. 51 different countries of people have
colonization, colonized countries. Because these ain't the original people over there.
Right.
But the whole point is that these are the people that the government paid to destabilize various nations.
Right.
The imperialism is based upon divide and conquer. So they go to these different countries and they fund different people.
Right.
And then that creates division.
Right.
And then as soon as people start realizing that these people was with those people, they take them out of that country. They already started fighting. The areas destabilized, and they bring those people here.
Right.
Like prior to, they were the terrorists.
Right.
Then we start bringing them here.
Right.
And then the stereotype and the social programming turned them into refugees.
Right. Just like they turned us into murderers and killers. They turned us into murderers and killers and thugs and rapists and all of that when they wanted the war on drugs. When really the war on drugs turned into war on black people. When really the war on drugs had to do with nothing with black people, because the cartels is the ones who had the drugs and ran the fucking country.
And the cartels were controlled by who? The fucking C, the I, and the A. I mean, see, but if you don't do your research, you have to understand what a system is. And see, they want us to believe that the system is the government, but the system is the government and everybody who works and is affiliated and partnered with that government to create oppression. Because the government alone cannot oppress people. They're not. They can.
They can.
It takes a lot of other people, other partners,
to make
other
sure
affiliates,
you stay oppressed. Right.
to make sure that the oppression that the government creates is maintained.
Right. Right.
This is where these nonprofits come in. This is where these elected officials on a local level,
all
because
these different taxes that you got to pay,
fees,
taxes, administration fees, and
minimum wage,
minimum wage.
Because minimum wage is a part of legislated poverty. Because if you have a minimum wage but on a maximum wage, what are we talking about?
Right. Because we can always pay you the minimum. Because as long as we paying you the minimum.
But why is the minimum what everybody offers? How you a Fortune 500 company
right.
and your employees
are making a minimum wage.
Your employees need food stamps, Medicaid, and child care to maintain.
Right.
Not so that they can generate wealth, but so that they can maintain.
Right. But with those jobs and that minimum wage, you don't even qualify for those resources because you worked 1 hour too much for that week or that 2 weeks, and now you don't qualify for the next 6 months because you made $10 over because you worked 80 hours overtime.
But in the meantime, they're taking your tax dollars and bringing people here, and then once they get here, then they're giving them Social Security, disability,
stamps,
everything that you have to qualify for, they're giving.
They giving them a starter kit and a complete.
They're
giving them money.
They're giving them a life.
You're giving them money.
They're giving them more than they give the motherfuckers that pay the taxes for them to do what the fuck they do.
Right.
To bring these people over here.
Right.
Because we paying for the people for the elected officials
to go there.
For them to bring them motherfuckers here.
For them to even be able to bring them here.
Because how do you in
Bangladesh?
And then we're
paying while they're maintaining status here. Right. We're paying them for 7 years. We're paying them for 7 years.
Listen, let me tell you something. If the government today said, you know what, we shitted on black people, we stole their land, we rewrote history, we stole their language, we stole their name, we stole everything, and now we want to make right. So we're going to give them 7 years of tax-free. Do you know everybody in this motherfucker would lose their motherfucking mind? You're going to do what? Oh. So it's all about the blacks. But when the blacks had bombs dropped on them, bow. Just simply for existing, everybody said,
they drowned
us.
Man-made lakes.
They turned our communities into lakes.
To drown us.
They drowned us. Every piece of land, we are indigenous to this land. And to this day, they still teach you that everybody in America came from Africa.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Why is that important? Why is the truth not being taught?
Right.
And why is it
black people didn't come from Africa though? We indigenous to the land. We're the first people that were here. Y'all just didn't kill everybody. When y'all thought that y'all discovered America, it was already people here. And then what y'all did was y'all went in their villages, y'all burnt them up after they tried to feed you because y'all was sickly and hungry. And y'all left us with disease after we fed y'all. We broke bread with y'all. And then y'all slaughtered us. But y'all didn't get everybody. Because some of the motherfuckers was out there in the village killing to feed you motherfuckers. And when they came back and they seen the villages was on fire, they had to run for their lives. That's how they got away. And then here y'all come. The indigenous black people that were the Indians.
That were classified as Indians. Because everything that we calling everybody was created. Names that they gave.
Created by region. But these was black people. We're the indigenous black people. But black is not a race. Black is a color.
No.
And that's what we need to get that done.
Say black is not a race.
Yeah.
Black is a status.
That's a status.
And that's what we're talking about. The status that was given to black people that allow the subjugation and genocide
Well,
of black people.
the original status was the elite and the eliters, and they only was Europeans. That was it. They came out of the Caucasus Mountains.
But who helped them?
They came out of the Caucasus Mountains.
But who helped them? A nigga helped them. You can't tell me. Listen.
You led them people through the jungle and brought them down to land.
They helped them.
They helped them. But they said that we'll give you this if you give us.
They catered to them.
Yeah.
So they were their friends. See,
and then they brought them down and brought them to their village, and they raped their women. They raped their women, killed their kids, and killed the fathers too, and took the women.
But see, that's why I tell my kids, everybody ain't your friend.
Everybody not your friend.
And see, we think that has something to do with black people. No, that has everything to do with how they colonized this land.
Right.
Nigga, everybody ain't your friend.
Right.
I don't give a... Everybody want to be friends. Oh, yes. We love the black community. Everybody loves the motherfucking black community when they around niggas. Because we them niggas. Because let me tell you something. Them motherfuckers in Africa, them not them niggas. Because people in Africa are allowing themselves to be oppressed. That's like a motherfucking nigga coming to my house for a party and beating everybody ass in the party and we all family. That shit ain't happening. We at a family party. You bring your ass. You're an outsider. You bring your ass to the family party and show your ass. You ain't making it outside.
You're not.
You're not.
You're not making it outside.
So see, the whole thing was, it was niggas. I'm telling you. They got us thinking that motherfuckers were them hoods because they was all white. No, white supremacy does not exist without black compliance. So who is the real motherfucking enemy? Is it these white motherfuckers or is it the black motherfuckers?
Right. Well, that's just like Elijah Muhammad said. Like, are you mad at the fact that Malcolm X got killed, or are you mad at the fact that a black man killed Malcolm X? And the thing about it is, you gotta be mad at the fact that the black man allowed the white man to manipulate him to kill his brother. So in the beginning, the whole situation is wrong, but you gotta be equally mad at both parties. Wait a second.
Who could convince you to kill your brother or your sister? See, that's the whole thing. Cause see, I don't know nobody
that can be convinced for that. I don't know nobody that can be convinced for that. But if you convinced, it's obviously they gave you something. They gave you something you needed. They took advantage of a distress situation, and they made you an op. That's the shit that y'all recognize right now, being the opposition. Oppressor is the same prefix as opposition.
But see, they want us to throw it around candidly so that we don't understand what a real op is. See, we think ops are, oh, you don't like me. You used to mess with my dupe. You're an op. No, the op is these motherfuckers who participate in your oppression. I don't give a fuck whether they black, white, Puerto Rican, yellow, green. It doesn't matter. If you participate in my oppression, we got a problem.
You are. So, like we said, if there's white people out here that really genuinely love us and care for us as a people,
and it is,
God defend us.
It is.
Show your face.
It is.
Show your face and defend us for real.
But at very few far in between.
Show your face and defend us for real.
Was it John Brown's Ferry where he went against his own?
He went against his own.
So if you ain't willing to go against your own,
you're not with us.
Black lives don't really matter.
It don't.
It
just matters just as much as the slogan. Right. Because if Black Lives Matter, they wouldn't have been so mad that somebody got on the knee and didn't say the Star Spangled Banner. You ain't put your hand across your chest and say, you know what I mean? to this flag. We representing this flag. You representing
the flag that was
created by these people to
Wait. The people may have theoretically created it, but it was created by a black woman because they didn't do any manual motherfucking labor.
They ain't do no manual work.
They ain't do no manual labor.
Did you not know what it meant when you stitched these fabrics together?
They know. They be like,
13 different times?
Nigga, stitch that shit.
Y'all did that shit 13 different times. Because it started off with the stars from the representing the family.
We give these motherfuckers a lot of credit, but they don't really do shit. All the shit that they invented, they didn't invent it. They slaves invented that shit.
Right. But they didn't have enough money to actually put the idea.
It was illegal.
They couldn't do nothing.
It was illegal. Because how could you create a patent if it was illegal for you to write? Because it was illegal for you to read.
You wasn't even supposed to know how to read.
What? And it wasn't meant that we couldn't read. We could read their language. Because we had our motherfucking own.
We had our own.
But see, they like to put the program in. Because they make it seem like we're dumb. No, it's not that we couldn't read or write. We can only read or write our own shit.
Right.
Y'all erased our shit.
Right.
Period. So you don't get to say we were slaves.
That's why they made up the letters. That's why they made up the words. All of this shit is symbolism. All of it is like ritualistic. All these words, all these different syllables and shit that y'all got words that spelt the same, but they ain't said the same because the syllables is different per word. All of this, adding words together and making math and doing all that. Y'all changed the philosophy of things that y'all learned from our people and made it your own.
But the whole point is we couldn't keep our language. So who the fuck is these motherfuckers that keep their language, keep their tradition, keep every motherfucking thing, and the government is making that shit legal? Like, we had to have laws created so that we could fucking wear our own natural hair in the workplace. Like, please miss me. Like, listen, niggas is dumb. Oh, we don't know how to work together. Who the fuck is working against anybody? That's all I want to know. Who besides black people is being worked against? Who is making sure that we're divided? Who's making sure that we're poor?
Right.
Who is killing us? Like, who the fuck? The government is actively killing us. Who is the government actively killing besides us? Right. That's all I want to motherfucking know.
Right.
And if you don't got no answer, please shut the fuck up. And stop talking about, well, we can't just get along. Girl, you sound like motherfucking ignorant ass Rodney motherfucking King. Because guess what? If you beat my ass.
They paid his ass.
If they beat my ass, they would have been like, Taniqua King, well, what do you have to say? Man, burn all this shit down.
Burn this shit down.
Fuck them.
You on TV because they gave you some money talking about, no, don't do that.
He like,
don't do that. Y'all need to stop burning. I'm good.
Can we all just get along? You don't shut the fuck up.
We out here burning this shit because they did this shit to you and you talk about, can we all get along because they want to give you $1 million?
Ass nigga, you weak.
These motherfuckers pulling niggas out and we pulling these crackers off they motherfucking car. We ain't give a fuck. We'll burn this shit down. We burn this shit down.
Yo, and I remember that shit.
And you on TV with a black eye, lip hanging out your face, damn near dead, talking about something. Can we all just get along?
With his dumb ass. His
and
dumb
ass. Is some cool shit.
No, that sound like a nigga who was like, why we want to leave the plantation? Well, we got
our
what life we got that's
nice.
Better than this.
They feed us. They treat us
they
nice.
Feed us.
They giving us what we want.
Yo, when I seen that shit made me mad as fuck. I was like, who the fuck is this bitch? And that bitch was somebody's grandmother.
And like I said, that goes back to, is you mad at the killer or is you mad at the one that paid him?
They always love for a black person to be behind some shit because all of this violence in the community and most of it is being committed on behalf of white money. Because a lot of these fucking criminal informants.
But a lot of this stuff,
they're criminal informants,
right? And then a lot of the violence that's going on out in the streets right now is being perpetuated by a lack of resources. These kids don't have nothing else to look forward to. Like, come on, y'all motherfuckers is getting buried at the age of 16. You ain't even had no kids. You ain't lived no life. You ain't even graduated high school yet, and y'all out here know more about killing each other than anything. For what? For what?
Design.
For what? And you don't even understand why who's designed. Because you out here doing it, and you're not even understanding that you're furthering the agenda of this man to annihilate our culture.
But how can they understand it? Then these are the children of the people who are products of crack babies. Like, we have to realize as a community that we had a whole generation of fucking crack babies. That the crack that they put in our communities, that they acknowledge that they put in our communities, and then there's no solution. And understand, they went in a lab to make that shit. That crack is technology. Mm-hmm. Crack is not natural drugs. Mm-hmm. Crack is technology that they went in a lab and said, yo, this is going to tear these motherfuckers up. And then when it started tearing everybody the fuck up, then they was like, oh, throw the book at the drug dealers. They're tearing up society. Well, who made them sell drugs? Because guess what? When a nigga could go to work after he graduated and take care of his family, ain't that what the fuck he did? Mm-hmm. Like, keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. Motherfuckers was leaving high school, having kids, going to the plant, and taking care of their family. Motherfuckers didn't need to sell drugs. So guess who wasn't selling motherfucking drugs?
And then what they do? They took
They was like, oh,
they took all the jobs.
These niggas,
all they care about for us to get the job.
They said all they care about is taking care of their family.
Right. So what we got to do?
So what they do? They put the family under duress.
Right.
They made the family the target.
Right.
So they like, oh, well, we're not gonna hire these kids.
You got to get through the black woman. In order to get through the black woman,
you got to go through the black man. So they was like, oh, well, we won't hire you, so you're poor. Your kids need assistance, and if you need assistance, this nigga gotta go.
And then what you do? You in a distress situation. You go out, you get these drugs, you start selling them, and making a living for yourself. And then they come and they get you because you took the drugs instead of taking the drugs.
But they used the black people to tell on the black people so they knew who to come for.
Right.
Because even the mouse know why the motherfucking cheese is free.
Right. It's a trap. It's always a trap.
So they trap you into selling drugs to get you into jail so that you can go to jail and make a bunch of shit for free for them. That they turn around and sell for $100, $200 a hit.
Right.
They just paid 43 cents for this shit to be made. And they just sold that shit for $200. And you think you gonna be able to compete with these motherfuckers?
Motherfuckers don't know they made 5 cents. 5 cents in jail in Idaho to grow the potatoes. People don't even know that the potatoes is coming from inside of the penitentiary. This don't even got nothing
why
to
you
do
just
with...
tell me that? And I love baked potato. I love a loaded baked potato.
Starbucks. Black people is in jail
making
I'm just saying, making the cups and making the shit that they use.
Are you serious?
Come on, bitch, look it up. I'm trying to. Excuse me. I'm trying to tell you. No, for real. This is what we was talking. This is what I was talking about. So like people was talking about Michael Jordan. I understand that. I'm trying to tell you something. Because if we're gonna talk about it, we gotta talk about it. This is why I be telling people my Black Panther status has nothing to do with superficial shit.
Yo, listen,
I'm going down the rabbit hole.
I need the lighter.
I'm going down the rabbit hole. This is why, come on, as y'all can see,
I feel like
I love
Nike.
Right now. I love Adidas, don't get me wrong. But I'm not buying anything else. The stuff you see me in is the stuff that's already been purchased. I'm not buying nothing else from these motherfuckers because you're talking about, I don't care about the situation that had to do with Kanye. It's about the principle of the whole situation. That's what I'm saying. The principle of the situation is you use this man to get where y'all wanted to be. Y'all use his connections to get where y'all wanted to be. And then
his connection to who? The black people.
To black people.
So any black person that support these
support him.
these
They
oppressing
support him.
motherfuckers.
Right.
You're supporting
Right.
a system that oppresses your motherfucking
Now
people.
people is trying to say, like, he's crazy, this, that, and the third. He not crazy because if he got that much influence, you're talking about 95% of Yeezy, the brand, is owned by Kanye West. 5% is owned by Kim Kardashian. So Adidas don't own anything. Yeezy.
And all that shit reminds me of in that motherfucking Malcolm X movie when the motherfuckers went to the police station to check on they motherfucking mans in them. Remember when they went to the police station? The people was going to the police station, but they wasn't giving no information, so they went to Malcolm X.
Right.
And then Malcolm X went to the
Then he
police
went to
station,
the police station.
and the police was like, "Man, fuck you, nigga. We ain't telling you shit." And that nigga said, "Look outside."
Oh, you gonna tell us?
Oh, they looked outside and they seen motherfucking black
people,
men,
black men,
organized.
Right. That's why they got rid of the Million Man March. That's why they get rid of the Million Man March. Because they not trying to you niggas get together coming to Washington. You niggas.
Wait a second. When that nigga said,
stop playing.
Listen, when
Look
they
outside.
looked outside,
and
they gave him the answer that he wanted, and he did like this. He did some shit with his hands. He did this shit. That nigga said.
And them motherfuckers said.
And them niggas went from standing outside, because remember they was standing in between the people and the police. When them niggas said boop boop and they got their orders and them niggas turned around and said it, that nigga said that nigga got too much power.
We got too much.
That was it.
That's
in the
why
movie,
they
were communicating.
That's why they said we a threat to their democracy.
And that point, they communicated that you niggas will never be in control of yourself. Y'all will never dictate what the priority, what the agenda, your heroes, your leaders. You will never dictate nothing. That's when they decided that,
we got too much power.
Oh, no. Anybody that is leading these niggas are powerful. You know how they know who the fuck we is? Because in 2023, the motherfuckers is still in the tombs. They desecrating our ancestors, trying to figure out who we is and how they can be us.
Wait a minute. They got motherfucking land in Haiti. This is what they doing. They put military men out in Haiti because Haiti produces an elite metal that they're trying to get. So they took in that they trying to get access to. So you know what they did? This is why they went in there. They went to try to kill these motherfuckers just like they did in the Congo to take over the blood diamond. They wanted to make, because this land produces diamonds. You could go anywhere in the Congo and find diamonds. The land has been that way the whole time.
And God,
why do you think they never cultivated on it?
In God we trust. Gold, oil, diamonds. Because these motherfuckers don't believe in God. If these motherfuckers believed in God, if this government was godly, if this government was religious,
then they would not be doing this shit. We talk about spirituality.
No, but I'm just saying.
Being connected spiritually.
But I'm just saying.
You
See, a lot of people ain't
no
spiritual.
religion on it.
You got a lot of people who are very religious.
But that's the thing.
Very religious.
That's the thing.
And they use religion to justify
their
the treatment of
their
black people.
Right.
So
but we're acting because we're connected. We're spiritually connected people.
Period.
We're not. This don't have nothing to do with religion. That's why right is right and wrong is wrong. People always want to say, "Pastor, you follow behind that fire." I ain't following behind nothing. The word of God and whatever he stated prior to his death it makes a lot of sense. It has sense and it makes sense. And things that don't make sense don't make dollars. It don't make life. It don't make a dollar. It don't make nothing because it don't make sense. You gotta be able to incorporate some of the things that's happening in life right now to the words that was speaking prior to you. Regardless if they translated it or not, and that's being spiritually connected. That's why the people and your ancestors that was spiritually connected, that was talking to their ancestors prior to.
But see, they don't like us talking to our ancestors, but they want you to pay to this saint, that saint, And seeing like different religions, they want you to acknowledge those people, but we don't acknowledge our own.
We don't acknowledge our own.
Because that's a no-no. Like once the people die, we not never supposed to acknowledge them motherfuckers ever again in life.
And that's not
how we become disconnected from our past.
From our past.
And when you are disconnected from your past, you can't learn from that shit.
You can't learn. You can't learn from it at all.
Whereas the wisdom comes from who? From our elders.
From our elders.
But
if you don't have a relationship with your elders, you don't really know history because you didn't take the time out to sit.
And when did we lose the connection to some of our elders? When we migrated from the south to the north. Based upon what? Economics. Economics caused our families to be weak. Because
getting
they
away
said
from slavery and getting a better life.
Because we thought economically a better life equated to a better life.
Right.
But just because you getting more money doesn't mean you getting a better life.
Right.
And we traded our
better life for the money. Right.
And guess what? Now
your kids is being raised by the system. You don't have no family around.
Not only do you have family, you're not even connected to your people.
You're not even connected to your people.
Because now you work so much that you can't even go see your people. You can't even visit them.
Right.
And now not only when some people were initially connected, you had a better motivation to go see your people.
Right.
But now you don't have kids that ain't even connected to your people.
Right.
So now
being
connected to the people is not as important as what I got going on now.
Right.
So now
that's why your connection is more important because they made sure that the families were together. This is where family reunions and things like that came from because now y'all got a time that y'all can meet up every year and everybody come and you do fellowship with your family. Everybody know each other. You know what I mean? Whether it be a year and it was a year, so it gave you that time to be able to afford that.
You knew who your motherfucking
you knew who your family was. Now things done got so things done changed so drastically, whereas wages aren't the same, rents, mortgages, and things like that, taxes and things are not the same.
Why?
And
because
even time is not the same.
Because minimum wage is not correlated
with the lifestyle
to inflation. So why the prices go up this much? Your wages is going up this much.
Either they going down or they still right here.
Because despite what's going up. Because we used to get raises all the time. But when they gave us a raise, guess what? The insurance went up.
The insurance went up.
So now I'm not really getting a raise. Now I'm actually making less money. Because my wages went up 5%, but insurance went up 20%.
But then that's the brain conditioning that they put you in now. You working 80 hours in a 2-week period for you to make up. Well, you 40 hours a week, you 80 hours, you work 160 hours a week, 2-week period. For you to make this money, and you're still poor because they're taking more money you make, the more money they take. So the taxes is going up. Yeah, you might get a $4,000 check, but just imagine how much money you made.
But think about
that they took.
But think about it.
So now you spending 160 hours, whereas it's 24 hours in a day. So now 16 days out of each day you're spending with working, and you don't have no sleep, no time with your kids, no time to talk to your family on the phone. No time to eat, no time to do nothing.
No time to find the husband.
This is why the relationships is going down south. And I don't mean down south literally. I mean just down south.
Relationships are hard to maintain. Like, our families are under constant economic stress. And guess what? When you're economically stressed, it affects every other fucking aspect of your life. It dictates what you do with your off time. Like, if my off days, I'm fucking working in door dashing or Ubering or working a second job, that's how can I raise my kids? And then when my kids do X, Y, or Z, you want to blame me. But shit, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Either if I'm home, we don't got lights and gas. But if I'm out the house,
who raising them? That's like Meek Mill said. Who the fuck you think raising the kids? My mama was out here doing
And
what she was doing. My grandmother raised me.
And who is supposed to prevent?
My father was in jail, and my mother was in the street.
But
who the fuck is raising the kids?
Who is supposed to prevent this? Our legislators. But who is funding them? It's not us. It ain't us. It is these politicians. I mean, it's these lobbyists and these corporations.
These banks, these corporations.
So listen, and
when we think about won't even give you a loan.
Right, but when we think about these corporations, this is why we have all these holidays.
Right.
Because all of these holidays are corporate driven to create money. So while we running out going broke to motherfucking give our kids Christmas, we put these companies in the fucking black. We taking them out the red, putting them in the black, and then they taking that money and making sure they keep your wages low.
Right.
Because they don't need. Because at the end of the day, if everybody at Geico, if half of their motherfucking employee base went and created their own jobs in their own communities, they couldn't survive. They can't, like corporate America, the elites really can't survive without our compliance, either through work, through voting for the people that they fund and pick and put in front of us. Like they can't maintain this system of oppression. But see, that's why you can't change a system that you don't know. And a lot of the knowledge that you get about the system, you don't get until you oppose the system. Mm-hmm. And you don't start opposing the system until you try to participate in the system and see that it's broken.
Right.
You be like, what? I've been calling my motherfucking councilman. And you mean to tell me that this city is bringing in $1 billion every year and my community looks like this?
Right. And then all you gonna do is come through, put some bump outs and some motherfucking speed bumps up and some tin can garbage cans on the corner that they motherfucker don't even pick up the trash.
Yo, but listen, and we think it's small. Like think about, I want to say think on a larger level. Think about the what's the building that Ryan Croce owned? He owned the Statler.
The Statler Tower.
He bought the Statler for $500,000.
The Statler Tower for $500,000.
And when he bought the Statler Tower, it came with $38 million in tax credits. And what are the tax credits? Tax credits are things you can take to the bank that equate to money.
Right.
So because he was able to buy this building for $500,000, he was able to access $38 million on a federal level. On the federal level. But then he was also able to access money on a state level. So a lot of these developers that we be like, oh, they tell us, oh, they love the community, they're creating affordable housing, and then they throw in some paint, some cheap ass floors, some cheap ass rugs, some cheap ass appliances.
In a building that's not even stabilized structurally.
Right.
Because it's built on wetland.
Right.
They're building these buildings on wetland that's crumbling from the basement because of how the water flows through the city.
And they walking away with millions of dollars. And they have people living in unsanitary conditions. And people call that progress. But see, that's when you don't understand the system. You know what I'm saying? So a key to our oppression is having a gaining and intricate understanding of what the system is. And then once you understand what the system is, then it's easy to identify who is representing the system.
Right.
And then once you understand who is representing the system, then you understand that these are people that we can't embrace.
Right.
These are people that we can't listen to.
We can't trust
These
them.
are people that we can't trust.
We can't trust
These are
them.
people that cannot educate us. These are people that cannot lead us.
You can't fund me.
They can't fund you.
We can't fund you.
They can't have any connection.
Period. And that's the part that people need to understand. When you running for these slots, You cannot be bought. If you with your people, you're going to have to run and stand 10 toes down with your people, and your people got to be behind you. That's just straight like that. Because if they can come in and they can offer you money, and you like, oh, you going to give me $1 million to fund my campaign? Oh, I'm going to take the $1 million because I don't have nothing. Instead of getting out there and conforming to the people in the community to get them to back you. We don't need their money. We don't need their money. Because if we take money from them, they could take our lives. They taking our lives.
They're not giving you something for nothing.
They're not giving you something for nothing.
See,
they offering you money to take your life. They want to take everything that you fight for and twist it around by telling you they're going to give you something. Yeah, we're going to give you this. We're going to give you that. Just sign this. We got to sign this. Oh, you ain't got to read the fine print.
But see, listen.
You don't got to read the fine. The layman's terms doesn't matter. That's not a thing.
But that's exactly what they did with the election. They made India Walton seem like she was a single mother who had kids when she was 16, and she's fighting for the people. She had to
collect food stamps.
And she had to collect food stamps, but in the same token,
you couldn't even pay your parking ticket.
She couldn't pay her parking tickets, but in the same token, the people who are carrying her petition to get on the ballot is getting $15 an hour. So, is she poor or is she not poor? And if she's not poor, and she can pay 100 people $15 an hour to carry the petition, where the fuck is she getting her fucking money?
See, we gotta be willing to talk about that though. That's the part. Everybody wanted to make it seem like this is a personal situation against one or the other. It has nothing to do with personal. It's about if you with your people, be with your people. And if you with your people, you can't be bought by them people. Period.
And
you
if you
can't offer me no money. You can't offer me no money.
And if you think a motherfucker is about to invest $1 million,
and a person that they can't control,
$10,000, I'm contributing this money to your campaign,
and I can't control you.
If you think that these motherfuckers don't have control over what this motherfucker is gonna do when they get in office, then you don't understand fucking politics.
You don't understand politics.
Period.
Y'all talk about, oh, Byron Brown sold us out. Oh, Byron Brown sold us out.
He was never with us.
He was never with us.
Yo!
He's been in office for
bought that nigga
He's been in
here.
office for 16 years. They bought him here to run to get you and your black vote because he had a black face. And then we voted for him, and we kept voting for him, and we kept voting for him, and we kept voting for him. And every year, shit got worse. 5 years in, 10 years in, now you paying attention to what your vote mean. Because 10 years ago, we probably didn't even really give a fuck. I ain't going to say 10 years. I'm going to say 20 years ago, we really didn't give a fuck what our vote meant at the age of 18. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't know. We didn't really know.
We didn't care. So that's why the kids that's 18 and right now don't really care about their vote.
No, I wouldn't even say they don't care. How can you care if you don't know?
They don't
if
know.
I don't know,
they don't know
my importance,
right?
My value,
how valuable
my power,
my vote is. Right?
How can I? You know what I'm saying? How can I know?
Right.
You don't. They don't know. But they educate you, so you don't know. They educate you to think it's more important for you to vote than it is for you to run.
Right.
When actuality, you need to vote and run.
Right.
Because they teach you cannot. You don't have the ability to govern yourself.
You don't have the education.
You're not smart enough, and you don't have the ability to govern yourself, but you do have the discernment to determine who can.
Right. But do we? But do you? But do you? Because I can't. The only people I see is liars, cheaters, thieves.
Listen,
like,
when I ran,
we voted
them motherfuckers did everything they could to kick me off the ballot. When I ran for mayor, them motherfuckers said they disqualified me off the ballot.
You ain't get your paper in on time.
No, they told me, no. My shit was in on time. They said I did not accept my own nomination from myself. I said,
what?
Wait. How do I not accept my own nomination from myself when I'm running as an independent.
Right.
As myself.
Right. That's enough acknowledgement. I acknowledge myself enough to put me on the ballot.
And then when you don't agree, I'm an independent. When you don't agree, then you have to go before the board.
The board.
The board is a Democrat, Jeremy Zellner, and a Republican, Ralph Moore. And I am an enemy to both the Democrat and the Republican.
Right. Because you're independent.
I'm telling them that it is important that we recognize the rights of our voters.
Right.
Like, it's not for you to decide whether I should be a candidate.
Right.
It's the right for the people. So how can I be disqualified for not accepting my nomination? And if it's a question as to whether I would accept the nomination for myself, running as an independent candidate, let the people decide.
Right.
Why would you take me off the ballot as a choice if you believe, if you believe in democracy?
Right.
Because it's not up for you, them in the back and in the middle and the front. It's for the voters to decide.
Right.
So put my shit on the ballot.
Right.
The motherfuckers was like, no. So then I ran a write-in candidacy. And then the motherfuckers was like, well, if they don't spell her name right, if they don't fully cover in the circle.
Right.
So if you didn't do everything they thought that you should have did, they didn't even count people's votes.
Right.
So they really don't respect voters. They respect the system that is in place that protects their agenda and everything they try to do.
Right.
Yo, I was like, I can't with these people. Like, I can't. And then you got all these people who like, oh, you don't this. And I'm like, yo, y'all don't even understand the importance of having a government that is by the people.
Right.
Y'all elected people that have been put in place by corporations that make their money off of oppressing you, off of keeping you ignorant, off of creating barriers to you accessing your own fucking government that you pay for and vote for.
Right.
Like, miss me. They miss me. They just, it's crazy. But you don't get that knowledge until you participate.
Right.
So we have to, as a people, we have to get more educated. And then we have to apply. Everything that we learn, we have to apply.
And everything that they trying to tell you or shove down your throat, you need to question.
You need to question, meaning do your research.
Do your research. You ain't got to listen to us.
You ain't got to listen. Find out the topic.
Find out the topic. Type it up and research it. And when you come up with your, and I mean hyperlink. Y'all like them hashtags so much. They hyperlink a lot. When they be talking, they hyperlink. Sometimes you gotta click on them hyperlinks to figure out what's going on, because when you go down that rabbit hole, baby.
If you waiting for the people that got their foot on your neck and applying pressure every day to educate you so that you can get their foot up off your neck, you ain't gonna never get their foot off your neck. Period. That's a fact. That's a hashtag motherfucking fact. Period.
And that's why I said, and that's why we was talking about these labels. We put our own labels that was backed by black people, that was made and created by black people. We put them out of business because we started buying shit from them. They didn't even want you to have this stuff.
But prior to the 80s, we wasn't even black people did not exist. Prior to the 80s, we was Negroes. Negropeans is what we call them other ones. Negropeans. Yo, but I'm just saying, that's showing our level of programming.
Right.
We call ourselves whatever the fuck they tell us.
They tell us, right.
We was blacks, and then after that, we wasn't African Americans until motherfucking Jesse Jackson, motherfucking cool Negropean, black boot licking, ass kissing, massa we sick boss ass
Sambo
called us black people. I don't give a fuck. whatever the fuck they call us, they tried to kill us. When we was niggas, they tried to kill us. We was colors, they tried to kill us. When we was Negroes, they tried to kill us. When we was blacks, they tried to kill us.
African-Americans,
When African Americans, it don't matter what the fuck they call us.
Right. So why
the fuck are we worried about what they call us?
Annihilate us. That's the main objective.
Right.
To annihilate us.
Right. But see, we so worried about what they calling us, we not worried about what the fuck they doing to us.
What they doing to us. Because we too busy defending somebody else's culture and what they think our culture is doing to them. When we the only ones who ain't did nothing to nobody. We ain't bothering nobody.
But ourselves.
That's the only thing. That's the only people we hurting is
ourselves.
The
only people we ever hurt is ourselves.
And we don't even understand that that's part of their agenda.
We don't even know.
You're doing a favor for them for free.
We don't even know that we hurt ourselves because they programmed us to hurt ourselves and set the conditions for us to hurt ourselves. And we don't know that.
I mean, what happens in a black thriving neighborhood when you come through, you bomb everything, and then you turn around, you take all of their resources, and you put food famine and all of this famine and depression and all of these things in this situation, and all we got left is to fight because you got more than I gotta take it because my family over here hungry and you got it. So now you condition me to go and kill my brother just so I can survive. Now y'all putting these other countries or other businesses in our community and y'all took away everything that we had that was ours, left it with us, and then put us in a situation where we gotta fend for ourselves because we have to survive. Y'all took us out of jobs because of a vaccine that you motherfuckers couldn't even actually validate whether it was real or not.
Listen, and that was only confirmed further by what happened in the storm. They left us to fend for ourselves.
And we had to do what we could do.
When we did what we did,
the only thing we could
the only choice and option we were given, they criminalized that shit. Now, what they wanted us to do is when they suspended emergency services, they wanted us to be like, yo, it ain't no police. And they know that we need it. They knew that there was a humanitarian need in our community. And they knew that they did not need it. Right. As a people, that we were going to do what was ever necessary
by any means necessary.
By any means necessary. But what they did not count on, because they thought they had programmed us to hate each other so much. They thought we was going to start running up in each other's houses and doing
killing each
stupid
other.
Shit.
Right.
But what did we do? We linked up.
Got together.
And we went into stores that we found that were already open.
Open.
Coincidentally.
They left the gate open.
Who in
the hell left the gate open? Who in the hell left the gate open? Because I'm still trying to figure out what type of machinery did we have access to that we could actually run in these places of business, bust through walls, all type of shit. Like, we was full-blown accused of doing demolitions inside of the four walls to get to another business to terrorize and fucking loot they shit.
But
we couldn't get out of our front doors, but we was in these stores.
But the only people who ran with those stories were the only people who didn't have enough intelligence to question the narrative that was being provided. Because at the end of the day, like you said, and even if they had the machinery, how the fuck did they get it to these places?
We couldn't move. Nobody could move. They counted on people staying in their houses and freezing to death. They counted on people staying in their houses and freezing to death.
Yo, did you see how bad? Did you see how bad Byron Brown was? That nigga was like,
yeah,
we left you niggas to die,
and y'all still ain't dead.
Y'all still ain't dead. You niggas, I did everything. You niggas was supposed to be running up in each other's houses, shooting, killing. Because guess what? At the end of the day, if our community was that violent and if it was no love and we didn't give a fuck about each other, we would have either died or killed each other. Because at the end of the day, motherfuckers, you couldn't move around till Thursday or Friday.
Right.
That's 7 days.
Right.
No lights.
No lights, no gas.
No gas.
Right.
Busted water pipes.
Right.
Frozen over water.
Right.
All that.
Right. So how was we moving? We was trucking. Motherfuckers was walking outside of their homes and getting 100 feet away and falling out and dying. This shit was so bad.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you.
So y'all can carry heavy machinery and fucking all these bags of shit up and down the street and freezing cold. Like, yeah, I understand people did it, but the desperation of the situation and what people thought that they had to do to survive should not be criminalized. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, y'all put us in the position to make y'all understand that we are going to survive by any means necessary.
But wait a second. If I am a humane person, then I understand, and I'm going to identify with whatever anybody had to do to survive. Like, who questions what people have to do to survive than those who don't expect for you to survive?
Or those that ain't never had to be in a position to survive.
But see,
we've been going through the struggle.
We've
been going through the struggle a long time.
Hold up.
We've been going through the struggle a long time, so we got a few different facets of struggle that we know how to navigate through.
It's all types of movies. It's all types of shit. I done watched a lot of motherfucking movies about situations that I ain't been in. I drop tears.
Hell yeah.
Where I be like, oh my God.
Like that happened?
Like they turn in Lifetime. Watch any motherfucking movie on Lifetime. I don't give a fuck what type of day you having. Stay your ass home and watch some Lifetime movies. Yo, you gonna have it's gonna be tear jerkers. It's gonna be shit that make you laugh. It's gonna be all types of shit, but it's gonna be shit that you can identify with. So why is it that you can identify with the stories of survival on Lifetime and you can't identify with stories of survivals during a storm that you survived even if your life was never in danger? Like, I felt the wind. I felt like my house was about to be blown the fuck over. Like, I felt like my house was swaying. So, why the fuck would I be like, oh, like, why would they do that? Like, we all know what we endured as a community, even if you didn't lose power. Even if you didn't lose power, then you was on Facebook and you seen all the people
that did lose power,
who lost power, who was looking for family members,
right?
Who had family members stuck
or
in
somebody
cars
close by that was stuck in cars and all of that.
So at the end of the day, anybody who was more focused on the looting and not focused on why the looting happened, those are people who lack humanity and will never have it.
Right.
Because guess what? Humanity, either you have it
or you don't.
Or you don't. Nobody can teach you that to have empathy
care
and
about
care
other humans.
for other humans.
Right.
Like, I can see some situations and be like, damn, that would be fucked up if I was in that situation. That's what it takes to identify with a situation, is to know that you could. You have to entertain the idea that could be you in order to acknowledge that it could be you.
Right.
And I knew in every situation that I seen on Facebook that it could be me.
Right.
My son is an essential worker. They could have mandated him to come to work and he could have been like, oh, fuck it, I gotta go to work.
Right.
And he got caught out there. But he was like, fuck it, I ain't going into work. Y'all ain't about to get me out there. So, I mean, a lot of people lost their lives needlessly because people lack humanity. You got people who facing more time for looting than they do for shooting people that didn't die. Like, give me a motherfucking break. You got motherfuckers who getting 3 to 5 who done fucking shot somebody and they only got them in the leg.
Right.
Then people who had to go up in buildings because there was no emergency response to the human crisis that was presented when this storm subsided. It's ridiculous.
I just feel like, they dropped the ball, and how they dropped the ball and why they dropped the ball, because they didn't have the right plans in place. And for them to get online and act like they had all these different warming centers that was too far away from our community to begin with to even offer it to us, it's like a slap in the face. Because if you're going to tell me that emergency units wasn't able to get to people on the street for safety reasons, to get them out of a situation where their life and was in jeopardy, then how can they be moving around and enough to be able to arrest people on the street? Because they stealing shit.
Like, how did they get here?
Matter?
How did they get here?
How did y'all get
here? You
couldn't
couldn't get out your driveway, out your street, out your neighborhood.
You couldn't get
How
out
did
nowhere.
all of these motherfuckers show up after the looting? But why motherfuckers was looting? Motherfuckers was
dying in their car.
They was still stuck. Like, when we got out, I was talking to people who have been stuck on the 33 since Friday.
Like, in their cars.
And I couldn't get to them. And I couldn't send them nothing. The lady was like, well, I ran out of gas. I was like, well, if we find some gas, we'll get some gas to you. There was no gas stations open. There was nothing open. After you saved yourself for 3 days because there were no emergency services, there was nothing but you and these elements in the community. After you survived that, you then had to survive the aftermath without no resources, period.
Listen, the city never came and plowed my street. They never came and plowed my street. You know who plowed my street? One of the neighbors is a worker. He got a construction company. He had a Bobcat. He plowed the whole street. He was like, it wouldn't even be right if I plowed my own driveway. I promise you, this man, every single day after that storm, he plowed because the plow would not come down our street. They said they all had streets that they was designated to. My daughter's car was stuck in the middle of the street in the middle of the block. He wouldn't come down and plow the street back, not knowing that she needs to be able to get out. Oh, but I'm not. It's a one-way street, but I'm not coming up the other street because there's another plow truck that's going up the street. Whereas people, they talking about moving cars and all of that, but you couldn't even move cars because it was so much snow. How was the tow trucks going to even get down there to move the car?
They had to plow so that anybody, I dig the snow from around my car. Now it's like motherfucking 12 feet drifts for the next 10 feet. So 20, 30, 40 feet for me to get off my block. I'm in the middle of the block. Okay, I'm supposed to go in my driveway. Like, they dropped the ball because there was no plan. But instead of people talking about the fact that there was no plan, we have no plan for more than 8 inches of snow. And we live in a city that is known nationally and internationally
for getting more than 3 feet of snow.
For getting more than 3.
And it ain't no 8 inches. Nigga, we get 3 feet of snow and still know how to move around.
Listen, and for the individuals, that's nothing. And when we had 7 feet of snow, it was nothing. After we just went out and shoveled.
Every 3 feet.
Every couple hours, we just went out there and shoveled.
Right.
No problem.
Right.
But see, they hit us with a trifecta.
Right.
We had snow, we had bitter cold, and we had hurricane force winds.
Right.
And you cannot tell me that was
shit
not
was taking people's breath away.
Modification. Yes, you couldn't even breathe out there. Like, as a person, like I had no power. Anytime I had to charge my phone, I had to go outside. Taking your breath away was nothing. For that shit to be like, it took the breath out of your body.
And then people don't understand the snow drifts, how they was covering up the car so the exhaust wasn't even able to go out the car, so the exhaust was coming back in the car, whereas people was in the car running their gas just to try to stay warm. This was backing, the carbon monoxide was backing up into the car, so no matter what, you wasn't gonna make it anyways. Because either you was gonna run out of gas or you was gonna freeze to death, or you was gonna die from carbon monoxide
intake. They programmed people to stay in their cars, and they didn't give them the information to do so safely. And then under the circumstances, they should have told them how to do so safely, because you had people who were stuck in their car for 18 hours. People who have been sitting in their car so long, nobody could even see that there were cars there. That just reminds me, I did FEMA for Hurricane Katrina. That reminds me for people that I spoke to who were in houses and the area was flooded and they waited for days and days to be arrested. I talked to people who lived in a lower apartment who the waters got so high that they had to cut a hole into the ceiling, got into the upper apartment, nobody saved them. Then they had to cut through the upper apartment to get into the attics. Nobody saved them. Then they cut into the upper apartment and got on top of the fucking houses. If you remember, a lot of the people in Hurricane Katrina were sitting, how do you think they got there without no fucking ladders?
Right.
Because they cut that they were floating. They had to, and guess what? They waited. A lot of people died waiting for somebody to save them. What, they didn't have boats? They lived below sea level. How the fuck they didn't have boats? Right. So whereas people could be rescued. I mean, how long do I have to sit here to be rescued? 18 hours, 24 hours, and I'm inside a city? We're not talking about suburbs where you got people wait a mile down the street. Right. We talking about in residential neighborhoods where your
houses is stacked up on top of each other.
And where did all of the deaths happen? They happened in the heavily populated city, as opposed to the sparse.
And most of the cities and most of the states is predominantly black because that's where they pushed us.
And we have tanks.
That's everywhere.
We have tanks.
That's everywhere.
Our Buffalo Police Department has tanks, but no snowmobiles. We spent the whole summer taking ATVs from people, but when ATVs could have been utilized to go to people who were stuck on the 33, to go to people who were stuck on Clinton and Bailey, we had none.
It's a shame that they don't even actually
need to go to jail.
Yeah, they definitely do.
They all have blood on their hands.
Right.
And they need to go to jail. And then their response wasn't that, we fucked up. We fucked up. We could have did a better job. Their response was, we didn't know.
We didn't know.
We did what we could.
We did what we could with the resources that we had.
When that shit was going to hit.
Start and when it was
going to end. And they knew that shit was going to end.
Was going to be.
And
but y'all never informed us.
And they knew the area that
y'all
it
never
was going to be.
told us that our lights and gas would go out.
Listen, I have a gas.
Lights and the electricity. Most of the electricity, most of the furnaces and stuff like that run on electricity. So this is why people didn't have no heat.
I have a gas stove. I have an electric oven. That shit is gone.
When I say that shit ought to be gone, because I said if people would have had gas stoves in their house, people would have been warm still. They would have still been warm because at least you could have used the motherfucking heat.
Pipes wouldn't have burst. Property wouldn't have been damaged.
No.
People would have been able to safely stay in their houses. Like a lot of the senior housing.
Right.
All electrical appliances.
Water was coming through the ceiling from the upper apartments.
And they wanted you to sit there with no food.
People were scared. They did not want to come out of their house. They was like, but it's raining and the ceiling might fall. They was saying that motherfuckers didn't know what to do.
And they was left by themselves.
To fit for themselves.
But we have codes that say if you have a bar, you have to sell food. You have to have a freezer. You have to cook food. Mm-hmm. But we have people who live in high-rise apartments.
But they not ordered. They don't gotta have generators.
We had seniors stuck in elevators for that duration by themselves that can't walk. Some of them had fucking wheelchairs with no legs. So, you know, they was fucked up and they was stuck. And there was nobody in the building with them because it was every man for himself.
And y'all talking about people looting.
Girl.
This is what is important.
That's why anybody...
Y'all talking about the niggas that ran up in somebody's shit, somebody's shit, and
you
took
better
some
be
shit.
glad they wasn't running up in your shit.
You better be glad they ain't ran up in your shit. But they took all our guns away. And then when we did try to run up in their shit, the motherfuckers got the shooting at us. You ain't gonna run up in here.
No, they was outside.
Yeah, protecting
illegally. Shoot it in the air. Illegally. Caught on video, audio.
And ain't nobody picked up and arrested.
They house ain't get raided. Go outside with an AK-47 and do a video shooting. The ATF, the sheriff, the state,
DEA,
the
motherfucking CIA,
the
FBI.
They're going to converge. They coming.
They coming.
They
come in the door,
what?
waving the fofo.
What? On the kids. On the kids and the family dog.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
What?
Well, that's why they asked you to get your guns back. That's why they wanted to disarm us. Now they done made it so hard for a motherfucker to even get a license. But then my thing is, how you gonna order a motherfucker to have 16 hours worth of shooting training when I can't even put my hands on a gun? How am I supposed to do that? So now you got to think about follow the money. Because now you're going to have to go to the gun range and pay the gun range. That's being funded by the NRA. That's being funded by the CCA. That's being funded by the FBI and the ATF and the DEA. You got to pay them 16 weeks. You got to pay them 16 weeks to go and take 16 classes because you need 16 hours. Ain't nobody in their right mind shooting for an hour full.
And it's $80 an hour.
And it's $80 an hour. $80 an hour.
See, that's why they don't want motherfuckers to be able to think. Because if you can't question this shit, your mind don't even know. You can't even conceive that they could do some shit like that. So you're going to put a 16-hour requirement on me. So you're going to make it so that only people who have, a disposable income can actually have constitutional rights to bear arms. So what they saying is that you're poor. When you're poor, you can't afford to protect yourself. You can't have a snowmobile. You can't have nothing. You have to 100% depend on us to save you. When we the motherfuckers that put you in peril.
We didn't put you in peril.
We the one that made you need to be saved. In the first motherfucking place. Because guess what? When you didn't need to be saved, we fucking came and destroyed
your shit.
Your shit.
Right. Because you was a threat to democracy.
Because you minded your own business. They forced us to go and live separate because they was killing us for no reason. So then when we go and we survived. We came back leading the pack. They was like,
it's too many of these niggas, so now we got to break them up. Fuck it. Let's go throw drugs in the middle of their motherfucking neighborhood.
Them motherfuckers went back to the lab on us because they thought releasing us off the plantation was going to kill us. Because we had grown so accustomed to them feeding us and clothing us and telling us what the fuck to do. And there was a lot of us that did not fucking survive. But it was a lot of us that did.
And that's why they don't want you to. That's why they don't want you to be able to think for yourself.
And then that's why they created the system, and they co-opted the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement wasn't about we didn't give a fuck about these motherfuckers and whether they wanted to live around us, because we didn't motherfucking want to live around them. Hello. So we didn't give a fuck about what they thought about us or how they treated us. We went to them to say, y'all gonna leave us the fuck alone. Because if y'all don't leave us alone, We ready.
It's gonna be a problem.
And motherfuckers was ready.
It's gonna be a problem.
Motherfuckers was like, yo, we tired of this shit.
Right.
And it's a problem.
Right.
And then they found some stepping and fetching ass niggas.
Right.
Martin Luther
that
King.
Was gonna lead them to
Ralph Abernathy.
Right.
And said, well, we gonna pay you to control these niggas.
Right.
And they came together. Now they having dreams and shit.
Right.
So now we gonna delay. We're going to say, okay, well, we're going to give these motherfuckers another chance.
Right.
Because we don't want to lose our own going to battle.
Right.
But we will go to battle.
But we will.
So we don't really want to. Because we just want to live.
We just want to live, right.
So let
me go over here and see if I can, we going to pipe the, come on, y'all.
We gonna go with y'all another treaty.
Right.
We're going to do another treaty.
We're going to make an amendment. We're gonna make an amendment. We're gonna say we gotta get to this.
We thought they
respected
our gangster.
Right.
We thought they represented our gangster.
Right.
But they didn't.
But in all actuality, they didn't.
Played us.
They played us. And that's where that ball rolled all the way.
That's where Martin Luther King said, and he said,
that's why he said,
into a burning
and he said, that dream that I had, my God, it has become a nightmare because I put my people in a position that he ain't had no intent. He didn't realize it until it was too late. And when he told us that's what happened, they killed him.
Yo, they said that nigga. Like, they said, yo, did you hear what that nigga just said? What? I thought you handled that.
I thought you handled that off with his head. He didn't even get a chance to tell his speech.
They said activate Plan B. Boop.
And he got murdered.
And he got murdered by the people that was around him. Because he didn't die when they shot him. They killed his ass at the hospital. And then the same people gonna turn around and make his ass a holiday and tell you what this nigga said. Yo, that's like somebody coming, killing your brother or sister and being like, yo, your sister would want you to act like that. Nigga, I would. What? How the fuck you gonna tell me what the fuck my people gonna say?
I'm gonna just give you a holiday to honor your sister. We gonna give you some free shit. We gonna come and bring the food to the table. We gonna break bread.
But you know
we gonna give you a holiday.
You know they pussy. Cause guess what? Anytime I have to stand up here and be like, oh well, my father said, knowing that these motherfuckers killed him, I'm not gonna say that shit. I'll be like, we're gonna tear this shit up forever. Period. That's that Rodney King shit. But you know why they talk like that? Because they took the money. They signed a non-disclosure agreement and made themselves partners with the motherfuckers that killed their father for some motherfucking money. For some motherfucking power, for motherfucking
power that you never got.
Power that you never got.
Because nobody don't even know you. Yeah, you can say your last name is King, but who really knows you? Nobody really knows you. Nobody really knows you.
They just wanted to be famous.
Right. And everybody else that had traction that was down with the Martin Luther King movement, you don't really see them no more in the defense of the black people because they don't want their end game to be like his. Because if I talk too loud,
because they don't want us unified.
Right.
His words, his total boop 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 is polarizing.
Right.
Because when you went so hard, you had this dream. And then the dream turned into a nightmare. You done integrated your people into a burning building. That says a lot, but you will never hear the government re-quoting that. They will never post that shit. They will never, the speech that he gave before they killed him, they will never put that shit in a movie. They will never put that shit on TV. They will never quote it. They will never acknowledge it. They will never do any of that shit. Because you don't hear about it until your own people who was alive during that time and who have the documentation to provide that to you. That was there.
Right.
That they didn't.
Right.
But see, that's why it was so important for them to go digital. Because now digital, they can go back and change anything monitor, with a button.
Not monitor, but alter.
Boop. Come on, that's what that hologram of Tupac said. How the fuck these motherfuckers giving a concert and they've been dead for 30 years? And he don't fuck with you.
And he don't fuck with
the government.
He didn't fuck with the government at all.
And now y'all controlling his image.
That y'all can make it a digital. Y'all gonna charge people to watch a metaverse concert of a motherfucker that's been dead 30 years.
Look up a chat box. A chat box is exactly what they did with Tupac. They will take all of your information on all forms of social media, compile it, and create a digital version of you. That motherfuckers, you live in a computer now. They can just go and talk to you. Oh, Mom, I miss you. I miss you too, baby. How was your day? So then they'll use that as a form of controlling people. The digital shit is wicked. Think about it. Now they got cameras that can take pictures, that can edit what's in the background of a picture. So if they have pictures on phones that do that, they've been doing that shit for decades. So really, can you really believe?
Because you can change where you at.
So can you really believe any image that's put before you by the government on social media, on mainstream media?
That's like they say Neil Armstrong was the first. He was the first person to land on the moon.
But the footprints don't match his boots.
But was he?
Would you believe a liar? Okay, if I lie to you 50% of the time, are you going to believe anything that I say? If you found out that 10% of the shit that I told you was a bold-faced lie, would you ever believe anything that I ever told you?
Why? You a liar.
So why the fuck do motherfuckers
believe? You will steal. You will cheat. You will kill. You will do anything.
So why do we believe what's on the TV?
It's propagated.
Shit, the news got an executive producer. The news has an executive producer.
How do you produce the news? The news is supposed to be based on
factual shit. Right?
Live events. This is the shit that's happening now. The weather is happening now. But you can't even report the weather because the weather just happens. But it happens out of nowhere. Well, how can you actually report the weather when the weather is constantly changing? Unless you're the actual one that's producing.
Unless you manipulate it. And look up. Geoengineering is climate modification. Well, what the fuck is that? Like, Google it. If the shit is and understand that the universities are under the department.
H.E.R.
But the universities are under the control of the Department of Defense.
Right.
So if the universities are under the control of the Department of Defense, every breakthrough that is created in the university is the property of the university, of the university, right. And of the government.
Right.
And guess what? The government, by any means necessary, is here to make sure that we don't survive and we're oppressed. So we gotta understand that anything that they discover, figure out, they're gonna use against us as a people.
Right. Right. Because they're gonna criminalize everything.
They criminalize your survival.
If they can't actually keep it in a manner of criminalization, they're gonna legalize it so they can make you pay.
They're gonna legalize it so they can regulate it
and they can make you
extract
pay.
money.
Mm-hmm.
Separate
to where they got you so by the balls, whether you making money or not, you really not making nothing.
But when they make
after
it about
I tax
money,
your ass a million times, you ain't gonna be making nothing.
Right, but when they make it about money, it's ultimately about either separating you from your freedom or separating you from your property.
Right.
Because when you don't pay, what is
your
the penalty?
Right.
It's jail. Is it the loss of your freedom? Because anytime they make it, you pay.
Or the loss
of life.
Or the loss of life.
These motherfuckers is wicked.
Because they're going to make you pay every time. But if you refuse to pay. And that's what the fuck was happening. They couldn't govern over us when we had our own community. So they was like, we can't govern only these niggas when they got their own shit. They ain't getting shit from us. They ain't getting no food from us. They not getting no clothes from us. They not getting economically structural. They have their own businesses. They have their own banks. They have their own laundromats. They have their own grocery stores. They have their own everything. They got their own banks. We cannot govern over them. The only way we gonna get away with this shit is if we go in there and burn they shit down.
Because how else was they going to make us come to them? We left them. We said, oh, this is some bullshit.
Oh, yeah, no, we ain't with this.
Oh, we would have got our own shit together.
Right.
You know why? Because they didn't do nothing but oppress us.
Right.
They ain't cook. They ain't clean.
Right.
They ain't raise their kids.
Right.
They didn't work.
Right.
They didn't do nothing. They just owned us.
They just owned us. And we
so
did
when we
everything.
said, stage left, we was the labor.
Right.
Because we did everything.
Right.
So we was able to quickly, boop, boop,
reformulate our own communities because we the ones who had the blueprint.
and them motherfuckers look
The
like,
blueprint came with us anyway.
we don't got nothing. We hungry.
We thought them
Because
niggas
you know
didn't
why?
know nothing.
Why was they hungry? They had land. But why was they hungry?
Because
they couldn't fucking tend to the land by themselves. They couldn't tend to the land.
They
The
couldn't tend to
motherfuckers
animals.
couldn't cook.
They couldn't cook.
They couldn't do
nothing.
shit.
They couldn't do shit.
So when we went over there and we was living our best life, them motherfuckers was like,
what we gonna do now?
we
gotta go get 'em.
Look, we gotta get them niggas back. Like, fuck that. We can't live without these niggers.
Yo.
This is their land, and we can't survive without these niggers. Because guess what? We was used to that. It was our fucking
It was our land. Right.
They just
They
took
took
us.
control
You might have
because they
been
came in and burnt our villages down. And then
your
they
village
took control
might have
of
been in
us.
Florida. You might have never been in New York.
Right.
So they took you to New York.
Right.
Boom. You in a new place.
You don't know nothing about nothing.
You don't know nothing. How you gonna get to
You can't
anywhere?
get to nothing. You can't even adapt. So we gonna leave you right here, and you gonna stay right here because this is where you complacent it because this is all you know.
But see, this is why slavery wasn't sustainable. Because once we figured out where we was, boom, we out. That's why they had to get the slave patrol. Cause we knew the land.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you could be lost. But imagine you could be lost.
Right.
But as soon as you see something that you recognize,
right.
you be like,
you know
I'm good.
Life.
Oh.
We're naturally geographically sound to the land
because
we
the
indigenous people.
And then
they try to throw us off by putting all these buildings and these roads and all of this different stuff running roads right through our societies and our villages and shit. Because I try to dismember our minds into knowing where we was at.
I go to the fruit belt and I be like, where the fuck
am I at?
You don't
even look the same. It don't even look the same.
Don't. So it's different. Right.
So now you got a few things that you can identify that's in the same places where you be like, oh, okay, well this used to be there, but you really can't tell because everything is being altered. It's being knocked down, it's being replaced, things are being removed.
Which is why you have all of these immigrants. They say we're a nation of immigrants. Imagine replacing the slave ship with immigrants. If you look back at the 30s and 40s, when they were sending these motherfuckers over here, it was 1 billion white people everywhere. Like, if you ever look at the pictures, it was a bunch of them. And I'm like, well, where the fuck did they go? That's how they took over. You can't go to a country and take over with a ship full of people. So they were friends. Mm-hmm. And while they were friends, they were sending back, oh, I got more friends. Oh, yeah, she's cool just like me. Right. And once they got over here, they was like, no, we gonna take the house. We're gonna take all this shit.
Right.
Y'all can go. And we was like, well, fuck it. It's all this other land. We gonna go there. And we went there. Because we didn't, why would we fight over this land?
Right.
It's all this land.
It's all this land over here. Why we need that?
And we kept running until there was no place to run.
Until there was no place. Now it ain't no place to go. And we stuck. Now we gotta rehabilitate. But we in a place that we don't really know what's going on.
We think
so we gotta make our own. We gotta make our own, but we ain't in position to make our own because they took everything from us. Because we thought that they were our friends. Now we done displaced ourselves. Inside of a place where we've been, that they just brought us, basically. They just switched your location. We've always been in these places. They just took you somewhere else where you wasn't familiar.
Right.
Where you wasn't familiar. And then your unfamiliarity, you know what I mean, put you in a position of vulnerability. Now you're vulnerable to what's going on in your environment because you don't really know. It's like, what? Where are we at? And you forcing us to have to adapt. Yeah. And we gotta be able to sustain. We gotta have some traction. You never gave us the ability to get no traction after y'all burnt our villages down. After y'all burnt our buildings
we can't survive without these motherfuckers.
Right.
We
need
them.
We need them to be labor.
We need them out the way. We do our very motherfucking best.
We do our very best to stay out of the way. We don't want nobody fucking with us.
And we don't want no problem.
We don't want no problem.
But see, that's why we the perfect people to oppress.
But it's not that we don't want no problems because we can't handle the problem.
No, we don't want no problems because that's not our nature.
That's not our nature.
We ain't here to cause problems. We here to live.
Right. So why we can't be comfortable?
We allowed y'all to be here.
Why we can't be comfortable? Why everybody else can be comfortable but us?
Because some motherfuckers is like that motherfucker come to your house and be like, oh, you got a nice house. Oh, well, where you get that from? Well, where you get that from? And as soon as they leave, they go and get their gun and coming back in the middle of the night trying to fucking rob you. Because them motherfuckers, that's their nature. Them motherfuckers they need to conquer. Like, y'all have every piece of this earth and this planet. All we got is the east side. We still can't be here. Like, all we want to do is just live.
The east side of every state. There's an east side to every state. And every city and every state, there's an east side.
Yeah.
And all the black people. And when you go to these places, I wouldn't give a fuck from here to California.
They're all the same.
They all the same.
Period. But see, they've programmed us to believe that they're all the same because we inhabit these places, and they don't want us to understand that it's all the same because it's the same oppressive system, the same oppressive people, and the same oppressive money, the same oppressive corporations, the same oppressive system. Like, they don't want us to make the connection, because if you make the connection that it's the system,
you're going to get smart. You gonna get smart.
Because all a nigga need to do is know what I need to do to make some money. Oh, I need to. We will fucking figure out some shit, remix the shit, conquer the shit, and be the top of the shit.
That's why they regulated the drug game like they did when niggas got a hold to it, because the mobsters been making money. The mobsters been doing it forever.
Every election time, the price of drugs go up. How are the price of drugs
y'all let Pablo Escobar
elections
be a motherfucking politician?
He's a CIA agent. Listen, Noriega, all of them motherfuckers is CIA agents, just like motherfucking Bin Laden.
You work for the feds. You work for them people.
And why is it that most Americans don't even know that Bin Laden was a CIA agent? Why is it that most Americans don't know that the CIA and the FBI and these alphabet agencies were created to control and kill black people? Like, why don't they know? Because they're not
just like when Bill Clinton said, when Ronald Reagan and them, they came up with that thing talking about the war on drugs. The war on drugs. The war on drugs.
There was no drug problem.
There wasn't no drug problem. It was the war on black people. And then that propelled the black on black violence. That propelled the black on black violence. And they didn't understand why.
It was the poverty.
The poverty created a situation that created black on black violence.
The poverty and the drugs happened at the same time. Because they couldn't get us to sell their drugs when we were working at the plant.
The motherfucking block. Y'all shook the block.
Who would be selling drugs when you was working at the plant? You left high school, you graduated at 18,
and
then you went right to the plant.
Because your grandfather worked in the plant.
Right, so why did you need to sell drugs?
Why did you need to? You didn't need to.
You didn't need to. So they said, oh, they tried to fill us up with drugs, and they said, oh, these niggas don't want to sell drugs.
They don't want to smoke
drugs. Man,
listen,
fucking get rid of them fucking, all the manufacturing, they start shipping them jobs elsewhere. That's when they shut down all the plants. And they shut them down at the same time. Bethlehem still. Look at Detroit.
Yeah.
That was the Motor City. Most black people was living their best life because they worked at the plant.
Right.
And they went back. They was like, oh, everything we do to get rid of these niggas, they survive.
They survive.
So they said, oh, well, what we're going to
shut down the plants.
Shut down the plants. Then where are they going to fucking work? Send in the drugs and the guns. Get the police. And then the drugs and the guns created more jobs for the police. They created more correctional officer jobs. They created more judgeships. They created
more
law
enforcement. Right.
They created a whole industry.
Right.
From them pumping drugs and guns into our community.
Right. To where these motherfuckers can't even still get drinking water. They ain't even got clean water. How long it's been?
But motherfuckers worried about looters.
5 years. They haven't had clean drinking water running through their pipe line.
But we giving money to Ukraine and Israel.
For this motherfucker to go over here and bomb a whole country, to take over a country that's going to be nothing but rubble that they going to have to build up anyway.
But that's only
This is the same thing he did in 2014. People don't understand that he already did this in 2014 when Barack Obama administered the sanctions to this motherfucker. It took him out of the Western economic structure. He took him out. He didn't give a fuck.
Who did you say? Barack Obama, a.k.a.? What the fuck is his real name? Wait, I love it. His real name is
Muhammad.
No, his real name is motherfucking What the fuck is his name? Because his name, he changed his name before he ran.
Yeah.
His name is fucking
Let me see.
Hussein.
No.
Huh?
His real name, he is fucking Adolf Hitler's grandson. His real motherfucking name is I love screaming his name too, because people be like, who the fuck is that? Google, say, what is Barack Obama's real name? It's gonna tell you. I got 1%. Oh, it's 11 o'clock.
President Alicia.
His name is
Barack Hussein Obama II.
No, that's not his name. What is his name? Is
It say Barack.
No, that's not his name. Because that doesn't create the link between him and Hitler. His name is...
I'm looking through his whole...
Wait, you got...
And they done took this shit, because this got a whole history of shit.
It's the wine. Blame it on the wine. His name
Blame
is...
it on the wine!
I ain't gonna say that because I just been drinking wine. What the fuck is his real name? His name
Wait a
is...
minute.
Fucking...
Listen. Obama's parents met in 1960 in a Russian...
His mother is a CIA agent.
Manova,
his name is fucking...
Student.
What is his name?
Oh, God.
His name... Satoro. His name is Barry Satoro. He is he is Adolf Hitler's grandson. His mother was a CIA agent. She was a fucking honeypot. His name is, look up his name, Barry Soetoro. It's BARRYSOETROL. TORO.
Barry Obama.
Barry Soetoro. SOETRTORO. And why the fucking news didn't fucking report that? It just shows you. Because the news telling everything. Look at the City Grill. A nigga got arrested in 1982. The motherfuckers like, yeah, he got arrested in 1982, so it's okay that they killed him at the City Grill. Like, come on. They was fucking disparaging people who was dead and couldn't fucking defend themselves, but don't nobody know that his real name is Barry Soetoro.
Satori. Obama's real name, and they list
SOETORO. Barry, there's a O. And if you
they spelled it because they spelling it S-O.
If you listen, if you do your research, his mother was a CIA agent. And if you look up the CIA, you will find out that the CIA was created to make sure that black people never became empowered again.
Leader. That's his first name. What?
Yes.
Wow, no, it do say that. I'm looking at this shit and they say that was his original. They say that's his original name.
Why did he change his name to Barack Obama? His mother was a CIA agent and his father was something too. I can't remember what his father was, but he grew up with his mother. His mother was a honeypot, meaning that the government used her to have her fuck different people for the benefit of the United States government.
What?
Yes, listen, this one dude traced his lineage back to Adolf Hitler. His daughter is one of the only kids that Adolf Hitler had. And they hid her. Yo, that's why motherfuckers don't like him. Yes.
His mother.
Mm-hmm. The CIA agent. She's a honeypot. They use her to fuck different leaders to get information and shit like that. He is Adolf Hitler's grandson. Why motherfuckers be like, bro, I can't stand every time his voice make my fucking whole body cringe. He a nigga. You see how when you find out who he is and look at his mannerisms, it piss you off. Because he just doing that to fucking kowtow to black people. And then black people think he's black. He's not black. He's African. He's just like every other African that come here and look down on niggas. Period.
Indonesia. What the hell? And then they changed her
name. He a Byron Brown ass nigga. He the same reason they picked Byron Brown.
They changed her name. The mother's name.
Yes.
Her name. Lolo. Sotoro.
Her name because his mother is Adolf Hitler's daughter. That's the exact reason why right now you are white and your husband can be white and you can pay for black embryos to be put in your womb. You have black people who are being born to white families right now in America, 2023. It is perfectly legal for your white ass to go and get a black embryo. So now you about to have a whole class of black people that hate black people. And that shit is legal. Like, how the fuck is that legal? Yo, I can't. These people are diabolical.
So she brought, she was transplanting him on an adventure and transplanting him into Indonesia.
Listen, all we need to know is that nigga worked for the government. He was selected to be the man. He was selected to be the president for a reason. Because he's one of them. That's how all the presidents are fucking related, with the exception of Donald Trump. All of them are related.
It's like being married. It's like being naturally part of in the mob being in your DNA, but if you was born of if you wasn't born a natural Sicilian, you couldn't be a mobster. If your mother or your father was Italian, you got in
watched
based
the Underworld. You watched the movie.
You got in based on the motherfucking. You couldn't be a mob boss because you didn't have full blood. You wasn't full blood.
But they would allow you to do certain things.
They would allow you to do certain things.
And keeping the niggas, what? Keeping niggas comfortable, confused, and vulnerable is very much a part of the agenda. It is the only agenda that all these motherfuckers, they may not like each other, they may not fuck with each other, but at the end of the day, they all agree that we are the odd man out. The friend of my friend is my enemy.
So why we can't agree that they the enemy? Like, because I don't understand.
They make sure we don't know who the enemy is. Look at Byron Brown. A lot of
But
people
how you
voted
don't
for
know
him.
you're the enemy?
Because a lot of, think about it, some people still vote for Byron Brown because they think that, you know, he's battling the system. So we need to give him more time.
So one day he's gonna come around.
Right. He's doing exactly what
That's
they
why y'all
want
gave
him
him
to
16
do.
years, because 16 years y'all thought out of them years y'all was like, and he's gonna do it next year.
That's why
he's
it is
done
so
everything.
But that's why it's so important to control what we think, because what we think controls how we respond. If we think that this motherfucker need more time, then we're not gonna question anything that he's done, and we're gonna continue to give him more time. And as we're continuing to give him more time, he's kicking the can down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can't figure out what's really going on, because if there were no black people in this conversation, we wouldn't know what it is.
Right.
We wouldn't be in disagreements about anything.
Right.
So it's these black faces that keep us confused, that keep us stagnated, because we don't know who the enemy is.
Right.
We think that you speaking on this motherfucker because you hate on
you
this
don't like
motherfucker,
him. Right.
and you really telling the truth
right.
about this motherfucker.
It don't have nothing to do with
it don't
a
got
personal
nothing to
agenda.
do whether you like him or not.
Right. It's
His
about
actions
is against
are
him
hurting
and our people.
They're against the interests
Right.
of all of us.
And if we gonna talk about what's in the interest of one, we gotta talk about what's in the interest of all of us. Because we all affected by the same things for the same reasons.
If the police would shoot you down for no reason,
They'll shoot me down
would they
too.
not shoot me down for no reason?
That's a fact. That's a fact. So if they was willing to put their knees on somebody else's son's neck for selling a motherfucking pack of cigarettes, then you think they not gonna put their knees on your son's neck for selling a pack of cigarettes?
Or for thinking he might
Or
be.
think he might
He
want
might
to.
be, or he might want to.
Or he might need to.
Or he might need to. Oh, it's real.
But it's okay, because we got to talk about this. We going to talk about it, and we going to keep talking about it. Mondays is going to be our day. Stay tuned, because we will be back with more facts. The speaker of the truth don't tell it every time. So, till next time, signing out.
Black power. Speaker of the truth.
Sojourner the truth.
My enemies pretend to be friends to me. That's a penalty. Loyal or rose, just remember that I kept it G. Okay, now let me be. Yeah. My enemies pretend to be friends to me. That's a penalty. Loyal or rose, just remember that I kept it G. Okay, now let me be. Yo, I spent the last 5 years on a guilt trip, talking about some real shit. You are not the realest. I cannot feel the same shit that you feeling. You cannot feel the same shit that I'm feeling. We are not mutual.